Hello there, we are your host Vivek and Pavitra from the Agile Coach podcast. In this podcast, we bring fresh perspectives to you through our interviews with thought leaders in Agile coaching, facilitation, business analysis, and product management roles. Enjoy. Hey there, today we have Sid Sachdeva as our guest. Sid, I'm really excited to have you. I'll do a quick introduction. Sid is by training a mechanical engineer from Purdue. Met Sid when he was in college doing a co-op. And fast forward, we're going to go into a story. But Sid is now a senior product manager and does a lot of really interesting things. Sid, welcome to the
Thank you,
podcast.
Vic. Good,
How's your
good.
day
Thank
going?
you, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to the conversation, and day's going well. Summertime outside, July, 4th of July almost. So excited for that. How about yourself?
Yeah. Great. Sid, let's jump in. So I'm curious about your story of coming to Purdue for undergrad and your experience there and what you did there to set
Yeah,
yourself
thank you.
up.
Um, quick background. I'm originally from India, so when I was 18 years old, I moved to the U.S. to go attend college at Purdue as an undergrad. Started off my college career in aerospace engineering, but right after the first semester, I realized that being an international student, I won't be able to be eligible to get most of the jobs out there as an aerospace engineer due to my citizenship and visa restrictions and a lot of the jobs requiring security clearance. So I just got creative and I was like, okay, what is the next closest engineering to aerospace engineering? I chose mechanical engineering, where I had the option to go to aviation and aerospace, do things there as well, but also had the backup to go in the automobile or just in general, like structural design and things like that. That was going well, and I got into my co-op, was learning a lot and just understanding just the basics of engineering. But then I just realized that this is something that I don't want to do. I don't want to do the same job over and over again, do the same thing over and over again. It got very monotonous during my first couple of internships, just doing the same thing as an engineer and just focused on fixing small things. Was lucky enough to got some guidance from Vivek and his wife Pavitra, and just a mutual connection. So that's kind of been the pivoting moment for me in my career. Didn't really know that being a scrum master or a product owner or a non-coding side of tech industry really existed. So once I figured that out, I really put my time and effort to understand that piece, to get the product thinking, understand how to think like a product manager, how to put customers first, and eventually pivot. So right after I finished college, I had the opportunity to work as a PM, and from there it's been no looking back. So appreciate all the insights there,
Yeah.
Vivek.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Sid, I remember you were like, were you in the senior year or junior or senior year? Yeah, so maybe we can
Yeah.
kind of go into that story. So of like, you having engineering experience and you went through the guided training program and you did an
hmm
internship project. So what was that experience for you, like coming from engineering to learn product development in Agile? What were some ahas? What did you enjoy
Yeah,
about
totally.
that
I
experience?
think that was kind of the key of the true like experience of being a product manager is like the biggest hurdles were to understand how to work with software engineers, right? My experience was to work with people who build physical products. So changing my thinking to something that's digital, completely digital. What goes in building something digital? How do you talk with somebody who comes from a technology background? How do you bring those people's skills? I mean, English is my second language, so I really
Mm,
had to hone in on understanding what are the right verbiage to say in somebody who comes from a technical background. How do you work with stakeholders? How do you work with people who are 15, 20, 30, 50 years in their career and have a lot of experience in this field. So those were like the biggest challenges. And a lot of the times when I first started, I was like, okay, I need to learn coding. I need to learn how to write software, understand how to read architecture documents, things like that. But as I went through the program and as I worked on building my own projects and working with developers, I just realized that that's just a small piece of it. And as a product person or as somebody leading an agile team, it's not really your job. You want to be sure to provide resources for your team and be the support person there. So that was kind of the big piece there, was just to master my soft skills, understand negotiation, communication, and working with different stakeholders.
Yeah. And Sid, let's talk about your wins, right? Like, it's so hard. Like I was an international student like 13, 14 years ago. So I had my own set of struggles kind of going into the job market. So you had to do that and you did really well in the job market and received, I think, multiple offers. So kind of walk us through like what was challenging as an international student and what did you do to overcome and kind of share the
Yeah,
wins.
definitely, it's not an easy battle, and shout out to everybody who was an international student out there and is hustling and making it happen. Um, for me, I realized from just even looking for internships, right, during in college as well, it's a numbers game. Like you're not eligible for a lot of the jobs that are out there as compared to somebody who was born and brought up in the U.S. So it's purely a numbers game. Apply as much as you can, and then just don't get disappointed. Don't take it personally that you got rejected just in the application phase or just in the screening phase just because you're an international student. There are jobs out there that require specialized talent from international students. So that was the piece that I had to understand is like just let it go mentally, like just keep applying, keep applying, keep applying, and work on your communication skills. Learn what is important to a recruiter. How can you be resourceful for them to help you guide forward? Like, hey, these are the items in the job description. These are directly have experience here. Call it out in your when you talk to somebody, like, to talk to your recruiter. So just learning that piece was important. And then when you do get an interview, the second piece was how do you do good in an interview? Like I said, soft skills were key. Understanding
Mm,
what verbiage to use, understanding what is important to them. Really, this is also kind of like a product manager to put the
mm.
customer hat. So in the end, to summarize everything, was just purely a numbers game. Is to keep applying, go find people who are already in the same positions that you want to be in, network with them crazy. And last thing I would say is there's a lot of noise out there in terms of resources and how to prepare, and everybody's a financial or YouTube like guru. You can buy like a some sort of like a watch their videos and like get understand like do their program and things. So it's really important to cut through the noise, and that's why I'm so thankful for the Agile Academy and Vivek and Pavitra is just to help me get out there, just get that resources right on my fingertips. Where somebody that I talked with former students of the Agile Academy as well, get their perspective and how they were, and just the ability to practice, do interview preps, do mock interviews with experts, hiring managers, and VPs of products. That just built my confidence up so much.
Yeah, no, so I really appreciate, a lot of people go through the training and the externship project, get hands-on, but a lot of people freeze when it comes to applying and putting themselves out there and networking. And really, I remember you taking multiple interviews, but like really learning from each of the interactions, learning from the interviews, reaching out, that's something that I think because of fear or I don't know what it is, people don't put in the
Mm-hmm.
work. And it's not just the work, it's also how you show up, right? Like still showing up with enthusiasm and excitement and curiosity to learn. That's something that I kind of saw that and also being very proactive. So I'm giving your case as a example on what it takes to really break into product role as an
Thank
international
you. Yeah,
student, right?
and I think proactive is a very important piece. Especially if you're changing industries, and just as an international student, you want to start 6 months before everybody else is starting, so you have that head start. You're going into it prepared. So you screw up in interviews that you don't want, so you can do good in interviews that you do want. So that proactive piece is very very critical.
Awesome. So, Sid, also, can you walk us through like what was the first product? I think your first role was a product owner, product manager, right? Like, what did you actually do
Yeah.
in that role?
Um, as a product manager, my first role was a product manager for insurance marketing and product management in an insurance company, insurance technology company. So the goal, my I guess tasks or the responsibilities were to be that to bridge the gap between an engineering and design teams with marketing and business side of things, as well as get insights from our end users. So our
Mm,
end users, the tools and technologies we're building goes in powering the top insurance companies in the world. So those are my clients, those are my customers. So my goal was to get their feedback, see if it's good feedback, or is this something that we can actually do, run it with my engineering and design teams, get the insight
mm,
from the market and build it. So I was kind of the the jack of all trades. So you need to know a little bit of engineering, how to talk to a little bit of designers, how you present yourself with executive presence in front of customers. These clients are like big companies. They do billions of dollars in revenue a year. So how you present yourself, and that help them understand their problems and how our products will solve it. And as you get insights in the market, like, okay, this is not working, or consumer behavior is shifting to something else, implement that, so they don't have to ask for it. It's already there for them. So that was kind of my job, was to conducting market research, prioritizing what's already in our backlog, collaborating with a lot of different types of roles, so like legal, marketing, designers, everybody basically that takes to run a company, and ensuring that we're releasing everything on time. So it was kind of a mix between a product manager and a product owner, combined together.
Hmm. Nice. Nice. So mainly what you're doing, just out of college is just like talking to different stakeholders in marketing, sales, design, and working with the engineers and just being proactive and like learning, right? Because you didn't have that domain experience, nor did you have the actual corporate experience for working for such a large company.
Yeah.
So just give us like what did you actually do to like you know
Yeah, totally.
bring value?
Yeah, I had no corporate experience or no domain experience, and so far I've worked in like telecom, I've worked in consulting, worked in aviation and insurance, so like just all over the spectrum. But I think
Mm,
oftentimes you forget that it's just like talking to somebody, like how you present yourself in a networking event. It's the same as how you would present yourself in front of a stakeholder. So those executive presence skills, I did a lot of read a lot
yeah.
of books, read a lot of like implementations on how to talk to people, how to bring that executive presence, how to add value as just by talking to somebody rather than like asking, making an ask first. So just understanding a little bit of like
Mm,
human psychology, human behaviors, and implementing it. And a lot of it was just getting over my fears of just like, oh, maybe I'm not qualified, or maybe I'm not like the best person to do it. Just go and do it, and then and let them reject, or let them say like, oh, this is not good enough, without even like, instead of just you saying no, I can't do this before, let the other person say, let them say it. And a lot of the times you realize as you do it is like, you did really well, you did really good. So it was just that, to digest that the difficult
yeah.
pill that I can do this, and go in and just go do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that um people are too fearful, right? But the reality is, yes, you can do it because you're very new and you're learning. But the power of like showing up and being engaged and listening and
Mm-hmm.
collaborating, um, people forget that, hey, that's what people are actually nice
Mm-hmm.
and they want to help you. They just want to see you do the work and see you be proactive and see you like do research from your side and add some value, right? And then eventually once you learn it, you start
Mm-hmm.
adding value.
Totally.
Great point. But so I want to just know. So you've gotten like one product manager job, and you're doing well. Like that was almost a six-figure role, right? And then you went out and you did a bunch of more
Mm-hmm.
certification, more training, more learning, and you went for a senior product manager role at another company. Did financially really well. Anything you can share around like what was the win that you created in that first year of
Mm-hmm.
being out of college? So share the win and share also what did you do to create
Yeah.
that win?
The the win really was like, I work as a senior product manager right now, and I have my own set of portfolio that I'm responsible for. It's kind of like being a mini CEO for a small piece of the business, that you take it and you run it. So that was kind of the win. I guess I get to interact with everybody from sales all the way to design. So I'm responsible for that whole piece. In order to equip myself to get that win, I think networking was key. I went to a lot of in-person events that I had no idea half the events, like talk about product led go PLG, no idea, cloud stuff, no idea, like nothing, like without even just like thinking about it. Oh, this is an event happening next door to me. I'm definitely gonna check it out, shake a few hands, introduce myself, and so networking was a key piece there. And then is also was just to learn like how to present, how to be more presentable in front of people from a diverse set of backgrounds. So like I said, executive presence was key. So I did a lot of courses and read a lot of books on executive presence specifically, and then started figuring out how a technology business works. How does a technology company makes money? What is important to them? What is important to their clients? What does the users care about? And those were kind of the key aspects of it. of me pivoting into more of a senior role. For specifics of anybody who's like trying to pivot into something more like leadership role or more product focused, from not from an entry level perspective. So it's, you have to learn your product basics. You need to understand like what a discovery means. How do you find the problem? How do you map the problem? How you're going to solve this problem? And I think leadership is also very important. So different management styles. How do you develop a team? How do you drive innovation in a team? And then the behavioral aspect of it as well, right? Like how do you map your career as like a product manager? What is that going to look like? What is the next upcoming big thing in the industry? How do you be more equipped for it? And the last piece is just the product leadership. How do you
Mm.
prioritize something that's never been done before? Like there's no sizing, right? You're building something from net new. So what is like a really tough roadmap prioritization look like for you? Um, Promoting challenging visions, and then reviving like underperforming teams, right? As a big goal as a product manager is to make sure your teams are performing well. There's enough development happening. There's problems being solved. There's value being added to our end users. So be able to change my perspective from an engineer to the customer and give that perspective. Like we're not a revenue driven company. We're a user driven or a customer driven company or a product driven company. That was kind of the mindset shift that I had to do, and which resulted in my role that I currently have.
Awesome. Sid, right now there's a lot of international students who might have like an academic background, master's degree, or engineering degree, and the competition is really
Mhm.
high right now. So if you were to give some advice around like how to run the play in this market, competitive market, and to go on a
Mhm.
product role, what are some um, bullet pointed advice that you would have
I
to
think the
give?
first thing is to get connected with people or who have the right advice for you, right? So in my case, it was the Agile Academy and Vivek and Pavitra who've been through this journey before as an international student that could give me that advice and point me to the right direction. So having somebody who's already done what you're trying to accomplish is the key. Give like the most important advice there. Um, and then the second thing is just prepare. Like a lot of the times that when I work with people in interview prep, they just don't prepare for interviews. Like this, it is a skill how to interview effectively. It is a skill to be able to answer questions, and it is a skill to deny questions that you don't know in a very skillful and a very diplomatic in a more like a executive way, which also comes out that hey, I don't know something, so I'm accepting that. I don't you can't know everything. So that's kind of like the top items. And then I would also say like read a few books, but with understanding and taking notes. Right, it's not just a consumption machine where you're just reading books, but there's no understanding or note taking. Right, then we turn into a robot just spitting out something. So that's kind of the key areas. And the last thing I'll say is, as an international students, we have to accept the fact that you're going to get lower interviews as compared to somebody who is a U.S. citizen or from here. So you have to be really, really, really prepared when you get in that interview. So having mock interviews with somebody
Awesome.
who is in the field with networking with people and getting
Mm.
feedback. So that's kind of the key there.
Yeah. Um, Sid, one last question for you is um, academic university training versus like street training, right? Like, I mean, you actually went to a very prestigious college, but what are your opinion like to learn or break into product? Do you have to go to college? Um, and just kind of
Yeah,
share your mindset around that.
I think I totally believe you don't really need to go to college to become a product manager. There's enough information out there. There's enough resources out there. There's enough like skilled trainings that you can do to become a product manager. And if you go on the internet, there is no like such degree as Bachelor's of Science in Product Management. That just doesn't exist. So even what you're learning in your school is so broad that you have to eventually then learn again how to be a product manager after all this technology information that you learn. But having the ability to just learn straight like what is important as a product manager, how can you be successful talking to people who have already done this, I think you're so far ahead of somebody who is getting a CS degree or a technology degree and then IT degree and then understanding that and then getting into it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, from the outside, like knowing you and mentoring you, I think your fraternity experience was actually really useful. So walk us through why that was, or how you were able to use that in helping. I think that part of the college was very valuable, in my
No,
opinion, for you
it
at
certainly
least.
was. I think historically, what people think of fraternities is just like a bunch of guys and gals just partying all the time and enjoying life a little too much. But I think it's also like I touched on a little bit. I think a key part of a product manager is to build teams and drive influence without having any influence. Like you have to get stuff done, but nobody reports to you. It's like your real job, basically. So be the responsible one there, and like how while still having fun, like driving changes. Okay, this needs to be clean today. This needs to be done today. There's only five of us. How do we prioritize things like that? So that piece was the true like personal like development piece, like where I built my communication skills and build the skills of leading a team without having influence. So that was the piece that was really helpful for me for my career. Yeah.
Awesome. Sid, last question for you. Like you've done really well in the career. I see you're learning all kind of stuff, engaged in many growth initiatives. So, what's like your why? That what's kind of driving you to do all these really cool stuff, which we didn't even go into. Uh, yeah, you're a big why.
um, there's two pieces of it. I think coming from an immigrant background, I think we value family a lot, and I value my parents and my loved ones a lot. So it's just giving back to them and just doing the most amount of things I can, learn the fastest that anybody else can, and giving it back to my family and my loved ones, and so providing back for them and helping them retire. Kind of that's one piece of the why. And the second piece of the why is for my own self. I love traveling. I've been to 51 countries, and I want to do more and more. And what better way to do it is to be that person that creates that technology and makes the world even like closer than it already is. So flights is a piece of it. That's why I worked in aviation. I really enjoyed the piece of like connecting two people together. And then same thing with technologies. Like we use a cell phone today. We're chatting on Zoom today. That wasn't possible 5-10 years ago. So being that person that connects different backgrounds and different groups together and make it a small one big world. And that's kind of the why. I know it's not really like a super detailed why, but that's what gets me going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you, man. This was a great conversation. I really appreciate this
Likewise, thanks
conversation.
for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that's a wrap with this episode. Thank you for listening till the end. We hope these podcasts are providing value on your Agile journey. If you haven't visited our website, theagilecoach.com, we highly suggest you for other courses and supporting material on your journey. You can also get access to our self-paced courses or learn more about the live training that we provide to become a Scrum Master, Product Owner, Product Manager. With that, we will see you on the next episode. Love and best wishes from the Agile Coach.